Jonathan Gannon, the former defensive coordinator, now the new Arizona Cardinals head coach. A video the Cardinals put together of him greeting Cardinals players kind of went viral because there was sort of a Steve Buscemi, how do you do, fellow kids type meme that went out there with it. And just seeing him, go up to Kyler Murray and say, people ask him, well, why would you take this open job? Well, do they have a franchise quarterback? Yes, they do. And then they hire, a 35-year-old coach who I'd not heard of before, to be honest with you. And this doesn't have to do with his qualifications. All I could sit here and say, is Murray going to be – you got to sell him on the program. And I know the NBA and the NFL are different. But if Murray doesn't buy into Drew Petzing coming in from the Browns and he's rehabbing his knee, I don't know. I just didn't get the best possible vibe, to be honest with you. And I'm wondering if that's something that's shared by the NFL community. And you could tell me completely otherwise. What are you hearing on that front?
Well, let's start with Jonathan Gannon. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of swagger to him.
Yep.
He is very, very confident. If you have seen the viral video of him rolling down the window of his SUV and yelling to some Eagles fans, we're going to bleep and gut these guys while sitting in traffic outside the stadium before the 49ers game, that's Jonathan Gannon.
No, I saw that.
He doesn't think anybody's going to stop him.
Yep.
He's very confident as he's coming in. And he's also very confident in his guys. He worked with Drew Petzing for years in Minnesota. Petzing's a guy who came up a lot like Kevin Stefanski did in terms of he coached like 4 or 5 different positions, spent time with the quarterbacks, the receivers, learned every aspect of the offense, and has been the number one guy on Gannon's list for OC for a number of years. Yeah, he's a 35-year-old, first-time offensive coordinator, never called plays in an NFL game, but somebody who was highly regarded certainly on that Cleveland staff as well. And then, on the defensive side, too, let's also mention they're going to have the youngest coordinator in the NFL, one of the youngest in history, in Nick Rallis, who's 29 years old. A funny story on that. I went back in my email and found it 15 years ago, an email from my buddy who was coaching youth football at the time in our hometown of Edina, Minnesota, saying there's this kid on my team who's just unbelievable. He's going to be even better than his brother, Nick Rallis. At this point, he's coaching like 9-year-olds. Rallis was he came up and he was a star player in high school, started at the University of Minnesota. His brother is Madcap Moss, the WWE wrestler who also played at the University of Minnesota. Nick's a really sharp guy, so much so that the Eagles were trying to keep him, and at least one other team was also trying to hire him after he got that offer from the Cardinals. So it's a young staff. He'll balance it out with an older staff,
sure,
with some other coaches that they're going to bring in.
I don't want to be an ageist because, again, to be honest, just jumping in here, I was a 26-year-old getting on SportsCenter, and a lot of people might have thought, "Who the hell is this young kid?" And I don't mean to be an ageist. I'm wondering how this plays with Kyler Murray and his future there. To be very honest with you, Tom.
Right, and so with Kyler, again, it's a unique situation because he's hurt. He's rehabbing from a knee injury. Maybe he's ready around midseason. We'll see. You would not anticipate that they're going to take any chances with Kyler Murray. And I would fairly say that even though Jonathan Gannon said, whatever the line was, make no mistake, we're going to win games here, I don't think realistically the Cardinals are approaching 2023 as a year where they're going to win big. You're going to have to, slice some things in terms of salaries, move on from some older players. Certainly in terms of, Kyler not being ready, you're not going to be playing with, as Gannon would say, an elite quarterback. So this is very much going to be a rebuild type of year, and you're going to have time for some of these young coaches to grow into it. Now, how Kyler reacts to things behind the scenes, how he embraces the offense, how he embraces this coaching staff, how he approaches everything about his job is, of course, going to be worth monitoring for all the discussions that have gone into this over the last couple of years about Kyler's approach. But, Gannon's right on one thing. In terms of just pure talent, Kyler Murray is one of the most talented players and dynamic playmakers within the league. If things don't work out, if he's not the same quarterback, his contract is certainly movable in the future. You're not going to do it right now because the guy is coming off of an injury, but certainly you would have some pivot points down the line. But the number one relationship here is going to be, I think even more so than Drew Petzing, it's going to be Jonathan Gannon with Kyler Murray.
Absolutely.
Because one thing, listen, going all the way back to when he was at Oklahoma, when you talked to people on Kyler Murray, what you were told was he's not what you normally think of in terms of a quarterback leader. He didn't really hang out with teammates. He hung out with the baseball players there. He's more to himself. He's very intense. And everybody respected the hell out of him because he's such a talented player. So you're not going to suddenly turn him into, name your quarterback. It's not going to be Phillip Rivers overnight. But you've got to get the best out of Kyler Murray and make sure that, from a program perspective, he fits into what you want to do. And they're embracing that challenge right now. I don't think that Jonathan Gannon went in there and said, hey, I want to move on from Kyler Murray ASAP. But let's see how all this works out. And we probably won't see it on the field until next November at best.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.